The reason your cold email campaigns aren't generating any results is simple. Your campaign strategy doesn't make sense. So in most cases, it's not that your lead list is bad or your script isn't well written. It's just that you haven't clearly thought through why you're running a specific campaign in the first place. So as a result, you're probably not running the campaign that makes the most sense for your business or for your client's business based on a set of key variables that I'm going to break down in this document. So everyone talks about identifying your ICP, writing personalized scripts, and building targeted lead lists, but nobody takes a step back to evaluate the strategy behind the campaign itself. So in other words, the reasoning that determines who you target, how you position your offer, and what kinds of results you can realistically expect. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to develop a cold email strategy for any B2B business, whether it's for yourself or for your clients, including your own cold email agency. So for context, who am I? My name is Zartarian. I'm the founder and CEO of Sparkly, the B2B cold email lead generation agency. I've worked with over 50 B2B companies across 20 different industries to help them book qualified sales appointments through cold email. And after launching hundreds of campaigns for myself and for my clients, it's become clear to me that the success or failure of a cold email campaign comes down to the strategy that is behind it. So just a quick overview now. The campaign strategy is the foundation of any successful cold email campaign. It's not about building the lead list, not about writing the scripts, not about your infrastructure. It's the decision-making process that you go through before you do anything else, before you build, before you write, before you automate anything. It's about understanding who you're going to target, and more importantly, why you decided to target those types of people in the first place. Because if the campaign strategy is wrong, then nothing else matters. It doesn't matter what tool you use, what data provider you rely on, or how well written your copy is. If the campaign doesn't make sense strategically, then it's not going to convert. And that's true whether you're running a cold email agency for yourself or whether you're offering cold email as a service to other B2B businesses. So start off with the end goal in mind. Before you do anything else, clarify the goal of your campaign. Why are you even sending cold emails? Well, the goal is to get qualified people to take a specific action, and that is typically to get on a sales call with yourself or with your clients. That's it. So you want as many of the right people as possible to book a call in the shortest time frame possible with the least amount of effort. Okay, and that can only happen if you're reaching out to the right segment of the market. If you're just sending emails to marketing agencies in general, you might eventually get some sales calls, but it's going to be an inefficient and slow process because there's over 3 million marketing agencies worldwide, so you're just wasting time reaching out to all of them as opposed to identifying which marketing agencies out of the 3 million are most likely to choose you. So as I said, you might get some sales calls, but you're wasting time if you haven't thought through who to target first and why. So this is where the campaign strategy comes in, to make the best use of your time and your budget by establishing a clear priority and direction before you do anything else. So one thing I have to distinguish here is that your strategy is not your ICP. Okay, most people confuse defining their campaign strategy with defining their ICP. If you don't know what an ICP is, it's your ideal client profile. In other words, your target audience or your target market. So this is not the same thing. Your campaign strategy comes before your ICP. It sets the direction that will eventually lead to your ICP. So strategy answers the question, what is the logic behind why I'm targeting this segment of the market? It breaks down into two core components, needs and high intent. So needs refers to who do they need to be. In other words, your non-negotiables, the baseline requirements that a company must meet in order for you to be able to work with them. And this is not based on preference, it's based on what is operationally possible. So if they do not meet a certain set of criteria, then you cannot physically perform your service for them. For example, If you run a cold email agency, you need to work with B2B companies. You cannot legally or effectively run cold email campaigns for B2C companies like clothing brands. That eliminates all B2C companies by default. Number two is English speaking or language specific. So you need to be able to communicate with the client and write outbound messages in a language the prospect understands. So in my case, it's English. For others, it may vary. Number three is a headcount of X employees. So headcount is a good proxy for revenue and operational maturity. If a business has 0 employees, then they usually won't be able to afford a premium cold email service or any service in general, or they won't have the infrastructure to handle growth. Number four is a large total addressable market, so a large TAM. Cold email requires volume. So if a company's TAM is below 10,000 potential prospects, it becomes hard to scale, test, or sustain a campaign over a long period of time. Number five is decision maker accessibility. So you must be able to get in touch with someone who has buying power. If you're not speaking to a decision maker, or you can't get in touch with a decision maker, then the sales process will take ages or it just won't work. Number six is a high ticket product or service. So if you're charging a $3,000 a month retainer, the client must be able to extract significantly more value from the deals you help them generate. Ideally, their customer LTV should be in the 10 to 15,000 plus range. Otherwise, the economics just won't work and the campaign will become high stress for everyone involved. So if your client, for example, charges $500 a month, but you charge $3,000 a month, you'll need to help them close significantly more deals for them to then justify their investment in you. Whereas if you work with a company that charges $5,000 or $10,000 a month, then you need to help them close significantly less deals for them to justify the investment in you. Now, these are just baseline criteria. If a company doesn't meet these, you physically can't work with them. It's not a matter of taste or preference. But also note, these are not universal, so they depend on your business model. If you're a cold email agency, then for example, you want B2B companies, whereas if you're a marketing agency, you likely want to work with brands that are B2C. So whatever business model you're running, you need to find your non-negotiables that if a company does not meet that specific set of criteria, you physically cannot work with them. These are your list of non-negotiables, and they are going to vary depending on what you sell and to whom. Part two is high intent. So who is most likely to work with you? Once you've identified the companies that meet your needs, the next step is identifying which of those companies are most likely to respond positively to your outreach. That's what high intent is about. You're not just going after anyone who could work with you, you're going after the ones who are most likely to work with you right now. So I'm going to show you some filters now that indicate intent. These are the signals you can look for when deciding who to prioritize within your target market. So the first high intent filter is lookalike customers. So companies that are similar to the ones you've already worked with. Same industry, same size, same function, because familiarity lowers friction. So if you're a cold email agency and you've worked with other marketing agencies, specifically Google Ads or Meta Ads, it makes sense for you to run a cold email campaign targeting other companies like the ones that you've previously gotten results for. Number two is geography. I'm based in London, so it makes sense for me to go after marketing agencies that are based in London because it's going to be easier to build rapport with. Also, it allows you to add an extra level of personalization in your scripts. So if you mention something that is London specific, like a certain area or a certain restaurant or a coffee shop that you can also meet up with the prospect for an in-person meeting, that also increases your chances of getting a response. Number three is personal experience. So if you used to work in a specific industry or role, then you probably understand it better than anyone else. So you naturally have more credibility and relevance when reaching out. Or maybe you have a degree in accounting, then it makes sense for you to reach out to accounting firms. So just keep in mind, whatever degree you have, whatever past experience you have working for a company, it's something that you should be leveraging in your outbound campaigns because it's going to differentiate you from the 99% of people that are also competing for those customers. Number four is social media engagement. So if people have engaged with your posts through likes or comments on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, they already know who you are, they're warm, so you can reach out to them with certain context. Number five is social media followers. So you can use certain scraping tools to find followers of relevant influencers in your niche. these people are already showing interest in your space. Number 6 is CRM status. So people who have already interacted with you before and are more likely to engage again. So this might be someone who you previously hopped on a sales call with, someone who previously interacted and positively responded to your cold email campaigns. There's any sort of interaction that you've had with someone and that they are now in your CRM, they are worth reaching out to. Number 7 is hiring signals. So if a company is hiring for a role that your service can replace or support, they likely have the budget and a current need. And you can find these sort of hiring signals on LinkedIn. Number 8 is website visitors. So there are certain tools that can also show you who's visiting your website. It would be good to reach out to those people while you're still top of mind. Number 9 is technographics. So companies using certain tools or platforms that relate to your offer. So for example, if you offer smart lead setups, then you could target companies that are using smart lead but struggling with deliverability, or even just companies that are using smart lead in general because it indicates that they're already using cold email. Number 10 is if you go to trade shows or industry events, then attendees of those specific events obviously signal interest in growth or solutions in their space, so it adds immediate relevance. Number 11 is team composition. So if a company is missing a key role, they have no head of growth, for example, or head of marketing or a CMO, then that gap can signal a need for your solution. So to summarize now, you do not start by building a lead list or writing scripts. You start with logic. And in order to do that, you need to, number 1, define the needs. So your non-negotiables, where if certain companies do not meet these, they're essentially out. It's not personal, it's a structural process. And number 2, you need to define high intent filters. So out of the companies that meet your needs, which ones are most likely to work with you based on signals that you can identify. So an example that I always like to give with this is I run a cold email agency and I like to work with marketing agencies. These marketing agencies are B2B, they're English speaking, they have a large TAM, they meet all my non-negotiables. But there are millions or hundreds of thousands of marketing agencies. So which ones are the ones that are most likely to work with me? Well, it would make sense for me to go after the ones that are based in London, which is essentially where I'm located, and the ones that are similar to marketing agencies that I've previously worked with. So I've worked with Google Ads agencies, Meta Ads agencies, YouTube agencies, email marketing agencies, content agencies. So it makes sense for you to build a lookalike lists, because that way you can call out relevant experience or relevant case studies. I also have a degree in accounting and finance, so it would make sense for me to go after accounting companies and call out the fact that I have a degree and that I'm more able to understand the specific language of their industry compared to 99% of other cold email agencies. So this is how you build a cold email campaign strategy. It's not just targeting, it's not picking a niche, it's about defining with intent and clarity where you will allocate your resources and why. Once this is defined, then you move into building a list, writing emails, and running the infrastructure. But until the campaign strategy part is done, nothing else matters. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you run a B2B business and you want an extra 10 to 20 qualified sales calls booked on your calendar every single month without you having to do any of the heavy lifting yourself, then click on the first link in the description and book a call with me. Now, if you run a cold email agency or you're looking to start one and you want me to personally coach you to help you scale and land more clients, then click on the second link in the description, fill in the application form, and if we're a good fit to work together, then we will personally reach out to you. So once again, I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.